Welcome to the Disrupting Obesity podcast. I'm Charlotte Skanes, and I'll be sharing ways to regain control over your body and lose an extreme amount of weight naturally. Being fat is about so much more than just the food, it's about your relationship with food. That means that dealing with your weight is about more than just the food, too. You have to change that relationship. You have to start disrupting obesity. Want to hear the story of how I almost completely screwed up my membership in the first month? I seriously think I almost totally blew it because I forgot who I was for a second and I didn't even realize what had happened. First, I guess I should probably tell you what I'm talking about. I've been secretly working on the membership for a while. It's been part of the dream since before I learned it was possible, and it was the next thing on my to-do list after I got my YouTube channel up, the program online, and the webinar out of the way, a few things. I love social media, but there's a long list of buts. And you guys send in your buts too. I know you don't want to comment on my posts because you don't want your stepsister and everybody from work to see it. I know that basically nobody wants to talk about their weight loss publicly. And that makes all the sense in the world to me. I wouldn't want to do it if I was you either. Seriously. And yes, I'm completely aware of what I do. I'm still an intensely private person. Social media didn't exist when I lost weight the first time. I didn't even have a smartphone. But even if I had, and even if it did, there isn't a snowball's chance in hell that I would have gone public with my journey. I see the people losing weight in real time and fielding the trolls and the Gladyses and the bullshit, all while they're, trying to navigate something as hard as weight loss. And I'm really just in awe of those people. 24-year-old me couldn't have done it, wouldn't have done it. And I didn't share my journey the second time I lost weight, even though social media did exist, because I had 3 boys under 4, a husband working 60 to 80 plus hours a week to support us, and I was clawing my way back from a completely insane brush with death. So I didn't feel like sharing, and it didn't even occur to me that anybody would care. It's been almost 7 years now since I lost my weight the second time, and social media is a completely different animal than it was even then. In some ways, we're all a lot more savvy with it, but it's definitely gotten more intrusive as the algorithms get more and more savvy and more powerful, which brings us back to the buts when it comes to social media. We love it, but I want to tell you about the buts. I want to talk about it, and then I want to tell you about my solution because I've had enough, and I know a lot of you have too. I'm lucky because I have this podcast. I have a platform away from social media. And it's not that I want to piss off the Apple and Spotify gods. I really don't. I don't know if YouTube will leave this episode up or take it down. I think I should be okay, but we're going to see how far I go. I don't have to worry about upsetting advertisers because I still haven't turned on the ads through the podcast distributor because I can't pick what gets played. And I'm not okay with that because I know the ads will be targeted based on my content, which is about weight loss, and based on the other content my audience listens to, which may or may not be about weight loss, but I'm betting that some of it could be. So that means that I could be talking about how you don't have to exercise to lose weight, and an ad for gym memberships could start up. I could be ranting and raving about how much I hate the snake oil salesmen and their bullshit promises. And all of a sudden you could be listening to an ad for some supplement that says you'll lose 60 pounds in 30 days by taking a bunch of capsules. So there's that, but there's a lot I can't talk about on social media, even here. I love it, but I know that if I talk about certain things, my videos will be pulled down. Or worse, I'll have my account shut down. And I don't just mean the obvious stuff like sex and alcohol or swearing, sometimes where it's just an instant nope. There are slippery slopes like body shaming. Talking about that one can go one way or the other. I tried to defend myself once, just one time, against promoting. I was being accused of promoting disordered eating because I include the calorie counts for things like spices in my recipes. So I explained that I'm not promoting it and why in this case I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't. And if you follow me on YouTube, you didn't see that video because they pulled it down. My first ever, my only post on TikTok, a post that had gone viral for me on Instagram, was pulled down within 15 minutes for violating their community standards. I think I'm probably flagging myself right now by saying words like disordered and eating together, possibly body and shaming too. I have to be very careful. It's a big but. And it's not just the things I say. Any text on the screen can get me censored. I have a favorite mug that I won't stop using, but it's got the F word on it, right? So every time I post with it, I get into trouble with Instagram. I can't communicate with you the way I would like to. I love social media and DMs are great, but I have almost 200,000 followers. So you can imagine what my DMs look like. And no, Gladys, I'm not going to automate them. That totally defeats the whole purpose of trying to communicate. That's the whole purpose of social media. I'm not sure if you know this, but platforms like Instagram give creators the option to have automatic answers programmed into their DMs. So as soon as you send me a message, the platform would send you a message back for me on my behalf, but acting as me. Yeah, I don't care for it. There are lots of third-party apps that will do that too, and Instagram allows it. I hear almost daily from somebody else telling me that social media with the targeted ads and the heavily curated feeds makes them feel spied on. And it used to be that you only felt spied on by people in your life on social media, but now you feel spied on by the algorithms, which is probably another word that maybe I should stop saying. But you feel spied on by social media itself. And if I sound a little paranoid, that's fine. But let me tell you just a tiny story here, a true story. I recently hired an absolutely incredible woman with years of experience in social media advertising to run a campaign for me with the webinar that I held in October. She did as incredible a job as I knew she would based on her reputation and on having met her. I couldn't be happier with the entire experience. But I wouldn't blame her one bit if she never wanted to work with me again. I half jokingly, half seriously said to a friend of mine when we were talking about this a little while ago that I feel like it would have been easier for her to advertise drugs than it was to help me with something involving weight loss. It must have been just a nightmare for her. Now, to be fair, she did not complain a single time or make me feel bad for asking her to do it. The ads were absolutely gorgeous, and some of them weren't approved because there are rules. There are lots of them, specific rules to weight loss. And I totally understand why. But when you see the stuff that shows up on your feed, you kind of just go, what the fuck is going on? How did this get through, but my stuff didn't? Did you know I can't use my own before and after pictures in ads on Facebook because they're considered body shaming? That's a true story too. My body, not someone else's, not one of my clients or some random stock photos, my pictures. It's a hard no. We had ads refused. The one, you've probably seen the picture on my social where I'm standing in a pair of my old pants, holding them out to show that they're too big. Body shaming, because it might make someone else feel like it's unattainable. I want to be super clear that I don't want to body shame anybody. The last thing that I want to do is make anybody feel bad about themselves, except for Gladys. I'm so sick of her shit, and she's making a career out of making other people feel bad about themselves. Turnaround's fair play. So good for you, Gladys, but just her. I share my story and my journey with weight loss because I want to show people it's possible. Using the word inspire makes me feel nauseous, like my mouth fills up with spit and my throat starts to get really tight. I hated it when they used that word in the hospital, and I hate it now. It makes me feel very uncomfortable. My skin starts to crawl. But all of that stuff too, right? Some people find before and after pictures and videos and stuff, they find it inspiring, and I've got the views to prove it. Aside from recipes, anything where I show my physical transformation and I talk about how I did it is my most popular content. Almost always. And it really is a toss up with the platforms. But on Instagram, by and large, when it comes to views, the recipes always win. On YouTube, transformation stuff always wins, the videos with before and after stuff. But YouTube has also pulled down more of my content than any other platform. So it's a hard line to dance sometimes. It's hard for me when I'm accused of body shaming. The food stuff just tends to roll off my back, keep screaming at me in all caps that I'm killing my family with Cool Whip and promoting cancer with tins of canned soup. I really and truly do not care. Some of it's actually pretty funny. And to be honest, Gladys, it just gives me content. So scream away. I'll just take a screenshot and add it to the list. Seriously, that's exactly what I do. I laugh, I screenshot, I load it onto the spreadsheet. with the other Gladyses. You guys even have your own special highlight color and everything. But when I'm told that I'm making people feel bad or that I'm discouraging them, it's hard. That's not why I'm here. And I'm a person. I do have feelings. I have lots of them. I'm an incredibly emotional person. I've always been this way. And then I got sick and it just got so much worse. It's funny. I was on a call with the women who are in my membership right now. I promise you, I'm getting to that. And I got very emotional and I was starting to cry. And I asked everybody just to bear with me because when I'm talking here on the podcast, if I start bawling my eyes out and I get so emotional I can't speak, and I know my editor Josh is probably nodding right now, and you can totally leave all of this stuff in, Josh. But normally what happens is that when I start to lose it, I pause a bunch and then I grab a drink of water and I'll just say, okay, you can cut all of that out. I'll redo that bit, whatever. When I get too worked up, we can just cut it out with the podcast. I can't do that on live calls, and I can't do it in real life either. The trailer for that, the Wild Robot movie, I was full blown weeping in the theater just at the trailer. And then I was a total basket case for like 70% of it when the boys and I went to see the whole thing. It was so good. But if you're watching these episodes instead of listening to the audio version, you can see it, I'm sure. I do not have a good poker face. I'm facially expressive to a fault. That's why a very, very big part of me very, very much wanted to stick with an audio only format. And I'm sure there are people out there who wish that I had. And that's another one of the social media butts. There are things I want to talk about that I should be talking about when it comes to weight loss, but I don't, because I know there will be more Gladyses than anything else in the comments. And once they start circling, any semblance of safety or free discussion just vanishes into thin air. And I'm left with a whole lot of stuff for my spreadsheet, but I'm not sure how helpful that is for everybody else. Because once I start getting attacked, nobody feels comfortable anymore. It's like the shit show when I referred to myself as fat in the past tense. Some people were upset because I used the word fat. It's offensive. Okay, well, I think that's debatable. And I realized that a lot of people thought that issue was what the shit show was about. And I'm letting people think that because it's the lesser of evils here. And I'm not trying to be a jerk, but there really is only so much I can say about this one because the real shitstorm was super ugly. So, yes, I offended people with the word fat. I was using it to describe only myself, to be clear. But yes, that part definitely happened. Also, yes, people were offended not by the fat part, but by the past tense part. Because how dare I think I wasn't still fat when I most definitely still am a disgusting fat pig. There was a lot of that type of language. Yeah. Having people call me fat now doesn't bother me. It's just whatever. I weighed over 300 pounds. I dealt with that in real life, not from some keyboard warriors typing away, face to face and behind my back, my very fat back. I dealt with it. So if you want to call my 137-pound ass fat now, fill your boots. I don't give a shit. But it got really ugly, mostly because of the faction behind it. And that brings us to the stuff I can't talk about because it's a guarantee that this one will be taken down on at least one platform. And it's a platform I would very much like to keep this up on. But when it happened, I felt pretty powerless. I was being attacked, which, fine, that's not new. And you guys were sticking up for me, which is also not new. And I am always grateful. But I ended up doing more comment deleting and having to block those people than I've ever done. I'm about to actually tell you about another crazy situation that I found myself in that you'd think would have had the most of this crap. It did, but not anymore. I don't like it when the comment section turns into a battleground. It's toxic and it's not a vibe I'm interested in. I don't like or need the conflict. And I know I don't want to comment or ask questions or engage with other people's posts that I see where there's a fight going on. So I can't imagine that you guys do either. And I know some of you are afraid to like or comment on my posts because you know it could show up on the feeds of people that you know, just because of the way the algorithms work. And I know that by saying that, I might be shooting myself in the foot because some of you didn't know that. But that's the truth. And I know it bothers some of you because you have told me. And I am super grateful for the whole DM thing, right? Because you guys can reach me privately. But again, with nearly 200,000 followers on Instagram and you guys listening and writing in from 109 countries, I'm not exaggerating when I say that I'm stretched a little thin in that department. There's no way to ever be as thoughtful or thorough as I'd like to be when I'm responding, because as I'm doing the response to one person, I'm seeing another one come in, across the top of my screen. Going viral is every content creator's dream, but when it happens, if you don't use DM automation, it's a lot. When I went seriously viral for the first time last year, I mean, I'd had videos that had they've done well for me, right? Because going viral can be relative. If your videos usually get a couple hundred views, having one hit 10,000 is a huge deal. You went viral for you. I'd had that happen a few times. I even had several videos hit over 100,000 views. Nothing prepares you for a million or five. This is still my most popular video, and it's sitting right now, I think it's 7.9 million views. I've had a couple others go over a million, and it is insane every time. I love social media, but going viral has changed the way I'm able to use it for what it was designed to do. And that adjustment has been a huge struggle for me. You hit a point where even though your audience is growing, it's getting harder to connect. I want more than social media can give us. I want privacy. I want authentic community. I want trust. My crazy mission since the whole almost dying thing has always been two-pronged. I want to change the conversation about weight loss, and I want to create a space for us to come together. I've been working on the first one for a few years now, right? I just keep cranking out these episodes. I've got a couple of books. There's the YouTube channel, the Instagram feed. There have been some things. My guide to getting started for the last time has helped thousands of you. The program is changing lives every single day. So I've been busy, but now I've created this space, something that's mine. And it's not the kind of membership where you join and then you're thrown into a Facebook group. This is its very own platform. It's my platform where I can say what I want without worrying that my videos will be hidden from you because I said the wrong word or I talked about the wrong topic. It's where you can say what you want without worrying that someone you know will see it or that you'll be judged or trolled. It's a safe place. I am so proud of the community that I'm building, but there's a lot more to my membership than that. I don't even want to tell you how long I spent moving all of my content over, all of it. Every podcast episode, every recipe video, every ask whatever, everything I've done, I moved it all. And it's all been loaded into playlists based on where you're at in your journey and the type of thing that you're looking for. And I made finding what you're looking for as easy as possible. Whether you're trying to figure out your TDEE or you need an idea for dinner, you can find an answer almost as quickly as you can type. Punch chocolate into the search bar and you'll be given a list of recipes to choose from, my recipes. Punch in TDEE and you'll get a list of videos and episodes where I break that down for you and to explain to you how to do it. And well, the search will take you right to that moment in the video or in the transcript because everything has been transcribed in case you'd rather read it than have to listen to me go through it again. There are curated playlists for every stage of your weight loss journey, and you earn badges and achievements for completing them. The third C that matters to me here after community and content is connection. I want to connect with you. I want to help as much as I can. Walking away from one-on-one coaching was so hard for me. It was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, actually. I loved connecting with my clients, getting to know them, letting them get to know me. I loved being there for them, but it wasn't enough. I want to help as many people as I can. And I get that I probably sound like a lunatic and an egomaniac all at the same time. But if you've been here with me for a while, I think you know that I really do mean it. I miss the calls a lot. So I've started doing them again, only instead of doing them like with one person, I'm talking with groups of you. I'm doing chats from my office where I do weight loss nuts and bolts and I deal with individual issues as they come up and come in. I'm also doing kitchen chats where we talk about food and I hack recipes in real time, showing you how to cut the calories, but hold on to the satisfaction and the flavor, teaching you the swaps and substitutions I think you'll need. I'm running challenges because I want to show you the most effective ways to get your weight off and at the same time to help you build the habits that you're going to need in real time. which brings us back to me almost blowing the whole thing because I forgot who I was for a second. The first challenge was the water challenge. Everybody worked together to get their daily water intakes up. It was something that pretty much everybody was struggling with. So from my perspective, it was the lowest hanging fruit because it was the easiest way to make the biggest difference the fastest. Here's where I fucked up, but I self-corrected in a massive hurry. So initially, I insisted that the only thing that counted as water was water, just plain water. And I stood by that for about a day because it's the healthier choice, right? Yeah. Well, the real issue that came up for me was the hypocrisy of it, like my own directly. I didn't drink water the first time I lost weight. I was still neck deep in my whole I hate water thing. I lost 201 pounds drinking Diet Pop, massive amounts of Diet Pop. The second time I lost weight, I drank water. But the first time, the time that I started at 338, it was all Diet Pop all the time. The second issue I had, hot on the heels of my first one, was my whole meet yourself where you are thing. It's unreasonable to expect someone who almost never drinks water to make that switch all of a sudden. It's not sustainable. And it's totally unreasonable to expect someone to go from the constant flavor explosion of almost every drink that isn't water to just drinking water. That's not an easy shift to get used to. When the only thing that old me was allowed to drink was water, I was probably dehydrated most of the time, right? And that does not help control your hunger either, because when you're dehydrated, you feel more hungry. I had no problem taking down 1,500 calories worth of pop a day, but trying to take in that same amount of water seemed impossible, even half that amount of water. But I could drink liters of pop, and that's not just me. So I flipped in a hurry, and instead of only water counting, any 0-calorie liquids could go towards your water count because it's more important to meet you where you are and allow you to make the shifts gradually than it is to chase some random ideal. I forgot who I was. And I forgot the whole point of this. So I'm really glad that I learned that lesson right off the hop. I feel like social media and the algorithms and all of that stuff tries really hard to meet you where you are, but it's falling short. It matters to me that we can get away from the ads and away from the junk on the scroll, just to shut it off somehow, the noise, somewhere that we can be social without having to deal with current social media. And that's something else I want to mention because it has come up a lot. There is no Facebook group. I know a lot of memberships give you access to a content library. They tell you that there's a community, and then they drop you into a Facebook group or a WhatsApp group. That's not what this is. You get the content library and the community all in one place. It's self-contained. It's private. There is no connection to Facebook or Instagram or Telegram or any of that stuff. It's a one-stop shop, but without any of the selling. It's somewhere you can get straightforward answers to your questions without judgment or sales pitches. I'm constantly adding new content, and there are multiple live chats each week. The replays are posted within hours, so even if you miss a call, you can still watch it whenever you want. And I'm loving the freedom. I can talk about what really goes on with the Gladyses and all the other stuff that I can't or won't say here or on social media. Straightforward weight loss in a supportive community is what I've created, a place to go and get a no bullshit answer. I want you to have the right information so you don't waste any more of your time. And I'd love for you to join me. There's a link to more information in the notes, and just feel free to send me any questions that you've got, and I'll see you in there. Keep trying, keep tracking, don't be intimidated, and don't give up. You've totally got this. Thank you for listening to Disrupting Obesity with Charlotte Skanes. If you know it's time to take back control, lose the weight, and keep it off, reach out to me privately with a direct message on Instagram that says ready, so you can start disrupting obesity.